Getting a visa for Cambodia is actually way simpler than you'd think. But here's the thing. Your entire plan, especially if you want to stay for a while, really hinges on one single choice you'll make the second you land at the airport. So, take a look at this. The difference between these two visas, it's just $5. That's it. But, and this is a big but, picking the wrong one, that tourist T visa on the left, if you have any plans to stay long term, well, that little mistake can force you to shell out over $200 for a last-minute flight, a visa run, just to sort it all out. It is by far the most common and costly mistake people make when they get here. Okay, so to make sure that doesn't happen to you, we're going to break it all down. We'll cover 5 key things: that critical first choice at the airport, what your long stay options are, a really big new rule about work permits you have to know, how Cambodia stacks up against its neighbors, and then we'll wrap up with key costs and some common questions. We'll keep it super simple. All right, let's dive into that first big decision you have to make right when you arrive. Getting your head around the difference between the T visa and the E visa, honestly, it's the foundation for everything that comes next. So, the tourist C visa is pretty straightforward. Just think of it as a dead end if you're planning a long stay. You get your first 30 days, and you can extend it one more time for another 30. But after those 60 days are up, that's it. You have to leave the country. And the most important part, you can't change it into any other kind of visa while you're in Cambodia. Now, the ordinary e-visa, this is the complete opposite. This one is your gateway. It also starts as a 30-day visa, but here's the game changer. You can extend this one for months, even a whole year, without ever having to leave Cambodia. So if you're even thinking about working, retiring, or studying here, this is the one you absolutely have to ask for when you land. Okay, so you did the smart thing. You got your e-visa at the airport. Now what? Well, before those first 30 days are over, you've got another choice to make. You need to pick an extension type, and it all depends on why you're here. And this table here lays out your 4 main paths really clearly. You've got the EB, that's for business and work. The ER is for retirees, you gotta be 55 or older. The ES is for students, and you'll need a letter from your school. And then there's the EG, which is kind of a temporary one for people looking for a job. See? Each one has a very specific reason. Now, for most people who aren't retiring or studying, the EB, that business extension, is gonna be the one you're looking at. It covers pretty much anyone who's working, whether you're with a company or you're a freelancer. And this brings us to a super important new rule you have to know about. Okay, let's talk about this new work permit rule. And I can't stress this enough. It is now a non-negotiable requirement if you want an EB visa extension. Seriously, the old days of kind of getting by without one, they are officially over. Yeah, this quote really sums it up perfectly. That gray area that people used to operate in for years, it's just gone. And why? Because Cambodia's immigration and labor departments are now sharing all their data online. There are no more loopholes to slip through. And this little diagram shows you exactly how it works now. It's really simple. Your agent submits your application for an EB visa extension. The immigration system then does an automatic digital check for a valid work permit. If it doesn't find one, boom, your extension gets denied. It's a closed loop. No permit, no visa. Simple as that. So, with these new rules, you might be thinking, is Cambodia still an easy place to live? And that's a fair question. So let's put it all into perspective and take a look at the neighbors. This is where you really see what we call Cambodia's accessibility advantage. Just take a look at these numbers for a second. In Cambodia, your main financial barrier is about $500 a year for your visa and work permit combined. Now, compare that to Thailand, where you might need to show something like an $80,000 a year income for a long-term visa, or Vietnam, where you can't stay unless you have an employer sponsoring you. I mean, the difference is just massive. So here's the main takeaway from all that. Cambodia's system for long-term stays is based on your purpose. Are you here to work, to retire, to study? It's not based on how much cash you have in the bank. And that's what makes it so incredibly flexible and accessible for regular people who just want to build a life here. All right, let's get into our last section here, the key costs and the questions we get asked all the time. This is the practical, nuts and bolts stuff you'll need for your planning. Okay, here are some quick answers to the big ones. That new e-arrival card, it's mandatory now, and you have to fill it out online before you even get on the plane. If you overstay your visa, it's a flat $10 a day fine. As for costs, you're looking at around $290 for a 12-month EB visa if you use an agent, and the work permit itself costs about $200 a year.
So let's do a super quick recap of the really important stuff. Number one, if you plan on staying long term, you always choose the ordinary eVisa when you arrive. Number two, that EB business visa is now totally tied to having a valid work permit, no exceptions. And number three, when you look at its neighbors, Cambodia is still an incredibly accessible place for expats to live.
So, ready to make your move? That pretty much covers the essentials. I really hope this helps with your planning. For the full written guide with all the details, maps, and links, check out movekh.com. That's movekh.com. If this was useful, subscribe for more Cambodia guides. And definitely drop any questions you have in the comments. Thanks for watching.